Hello there, my name is MrLincecum. I am a member of JustDubs forums and the JustDubs community as a whole, and I will be giving you a short tutorial on how to act as a new member on JustDubs forums. It's relatively simple, you just need to pay a little bit of attention and use some common sense. First off, I would like to point out that post count does not equal success. I do have over 1,000 posts, but that means nothing if my posts are one line long or contribute nothing to the overall conversation. Alright, now that I've gotten that little tidbit of information out of the way, it's time to move on to our next topic, and it is going to be reviving old threads. Now this is the categories of all the different types of threads you can make. This is so we keep everything organized and good to go, so new members find it easier to find topics that they would be interested in. But this is the asylum, basically the area of the forums where games and other random topics go. It doesn't count towards your post count, so don't think of spamming the asylum. But now let's go to the oldest threads in the asylum that are possibly revivable. Now, there'd be no point at all to reviving any of these threads because the posts don't even count, and unless you have a legitimate reason to revive them, it's really frowned upon by other members, especially in the types of areas like romance anime. Only revive threads in which you have legitimate reasoning, like if you want to provide your opinion for something. Let's say I have an opinion on Girls Bravo, and I find this thread right here. I simply open up the thread, check the first post. It says, what is the ending? If I know the ending and no one in the thread has talked about it yet, I'm not going to show it because it might give you spoilers, but if no one in the thread has told it, I might as well just put it out there. This leads me to my next point, known as posting in the right section. There's a certain someone on the forums who will scold you if you don't post in the correct section of the forums. When you go, let's say you have a comment about Clannad, a romance anime. There'd be no point in putting it in idle speculation. It makes no sense and simply shows your lack of understanding of where it's supposed to go. Obviously, you'd go into romance anime, check to see if the topic's been created already, and then create your thread with your question or your thoughts or your opinions or whatever it is that you want to ask. The next thing I'd like to mention is don't go overboard with making threads. Don't create more than 3 threads in one day, in my opinion. It's just a bit too much, and the more threads you create, the more discussions you try to create, the more people will become annoyed at you creating a lot of threads. Now, this has an asterisk next to it, if you know what I mean. This applies to mainly threads in the asylum that have no real purpose. If the threads that don't incite a conversation, try to keep yourself from making too many of them, because honestly, all it does is make some members annoyed that you only care about playing games and such. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you're going to create games, try to limit it to like once every 3 days. I know I said 3 a day earlier, and I just realized that that is quite a lot, to be honest. Next topic, the broken video section. I don't know why I keep going back to the main page, it's just habit, I guess. But most people, I've noticed in the time I've been here, post broken video over here in the site discussion. This is the wrong place to do it. MrLincecum will scold you, he will kill you, he will fap you for Christ's sake if you put it in the site discussion. Sai might be happy with that, but not most of us members. So now we head to the broken video section. Make sure no one else has made that thread already, so you don't end up looking like a fool for recreating an old thread. Click the new thread and just simply put in the title the name of the series. Let's say it's Clannad, the episode, and then your reason in this box. Alright, now that we have that out of the way, let's get to our next topic, which ironically is staying on topic. So let's just pick a random thread over here from the romance anime section. This is about what to look for in a romance anime. Now, again, this topic is basically about what you look for in a romance anime. Now, if I go and post in here and say Battlestar Galactica is the shit or whatever you want, people are not only going to frown upon that, but you'll probably get a few negative posts in there. It's pretty much common sense not to do that, but you'll be surprised at the people who post in random threads just to do that. Just have to say it. Alright, next I'm going to talk about reading the posts in the thread before making a topic discussion. Now, if I can find that thread that had the example in it. Alright, I cannot give you the whole conversation, but basically, this is MrLincecum and his post that I think is a perfect example. As you can see, the person mentioned if .hack would be a good realm to include in a game that some members of JustDubs have been creating. It's a good game, you should check it out if you have the time. But this person, there were 7 posts with a conversation that mentioned .hack in it to be added to the game. And he basically looked like a total moron by saying that in the words of MrLincecum, and this is how you get burned right here. Make sure you read the previous threads in the previous posts in the thread to make sure you're not asking a question that's already been asked. I'm not saying read every single page of posts, but go from page to page and just take a gander at what it's been talking about. Alright, now we're going to go to the part about other members. Pay attention to the other members' interests and how they post before talking to them. Now I'm going to use myself as an example. I tend to post pretty pervy posts. I'm not even kidding. I tend to be a little bit immature at times, but then at other times I try to step it up. But a really useful feature you can use to learn about members is this About Me tab. You see my biography, my location, my interests, my occupation, and my gender. And up here, it has my age, my join date, and my total posts, which means nothing. So, basically, look here, and if you see an interest that you're interested in as well, just simply hit the visitor message and send a message about that topic. Remember to view conversation after it has been responded, so you can send a reply. Now, it's important to pay attention to this part here, because honestly, if you send me a message about My Little Pony, I'm probably just going to add you to my ignore list and probably, I don't know, do something else that's pretty sinister. But yeah, so basically just keep tabs on the interests of other members, and when you post it first, post as if, you know, you're new and you don't know anybody. Don't make any assumptions about any of the other members, because they really hate that when you join and you think you know everything about all the members when in reality you don't. Alright, now we're going to get to the actual interacting with other members. I know I talked about view conversation a few seconds ago, and I didn't actually explain that. So this gentleman messaged me, Hongo Kazuto. I believe he's named after the main character of an anime. Basically, he messaged me, and what I'm going to do is use view conversation, click that, and it brings me to this screen. Now, if I want to reply to him, just simply post in this box and put post message, and then it will go to his page. Now, we simply wait for him to respond to us and do that exactly. Now, if you want to post to someone else's page, simply click on their name, go to visitor messages, and write your message. Post the message. Now, there is a 30-second delay between posts, so don't get crazy if that doesn't work. So just simply keep going until the time limit runs out. And now your message is posted. I'm sorry if those messages annoy you, but I'm sorry, it's for the video. Alright, now this kind of goes into interacting with other members, but also in all the other ones, trolling. Now, trolling is usually generally accepted here, but only to a certain extent. There are moderators looking at these threads, making sure that you're not inciting flame wars with everyone else. But here's an example that would be a okay troll. Alright. So, here's a post about how this member believed that he was old because he received an ARP card in the mail, when in reality he's not even close to 50 years old yet. So, he said, "Do I get a cane or walker?" And I said, "Even better." And if you don't know, that's a picture of a catheter. Now, that is what is called acceptable trolling. It's inciting reaction, but without any hateful or insultful remarks involved. That is acceptable trolling. Now, unacceptable trolling is when you use when you purposely use hateful, racist, or any kind of socialist remark. Now, I hate to use the word socialist there. In fact, I just said that on a whim, but basically, don't be a douchebag to other people. Alright, now, one of the last topics I'm going to address in this video so far is signature requesting. In the beginning, you should get a little notification by Bedhead Red, or visitor messages, that tell you that to go to a certain place to make a sig. And that area is this area, the creative design section. Now, if you come in here, there are a bunch of threads with a lot of talented artists on this website that are willing to create you a signature for free. If you don't know what that is, please Google it because I don't feel like explaining it. But let's say you want a signature. First off, this is the only part where post count makes any difference. Make sure you have at least 20 to 30 posts because most people would be not willing to make a sig for you if they feel that you're not going to stick around. So you have your posts ready. You go into new thread. Now, the title can be general. This one doesn't have to be very specific. But when you describe what you want in your signature, when you describe what you want in your signature, you have to be very specific. Do not write just clan ad signature, because the other person has no idea what you want or what you are looking for, and there is nothing more frustrating for an artist than making a piece of work that you poured your heart and soul into, and then finding out the other person doesn't like it just because they didn't tell you what they were looking for. So, without being general, just simply write, "Can someone please make me a signature using Nagisa from ClanAd." Now, if you have a render, provide it using this button right here, the Insert Image button. Simply click on it, paste the URL of your image into the OK box, and hit OK. I click cancel there, but you get what I mean. If you don't have a render, then just simply say, describe what kind of render you're looking for. Can the render be of Nagisa happy / smiling? That way the artist knows what type of render you're looking for, what type of signature you're going for, and include any other additional details as well, such as the text. So text could say MrLincecum on it. That would be a this isn't the best request, but at least you get across what you want, and other artists would be able to ask any questions without having to ask you, what exactly do you want? Because there's nothing more frustrating, like I said, than making something without knowing what exactly you're making. Alright, last topic I would like to get into. Do not treat the moderators unfairly. I know it comes given, but treat them with respect because they do a lot for our site. And yeah, they might be a little bit pushy at times, but that's only because maybe they had a bad day, or maybe they're just tried to do their job. So again, treat the mods and content managers with respect, treat the other members with respect, and if you follow these rules, you should be at least good enough to give a good first impression on your fellow forum members. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I know it's not exactly one of the most enjoyable videos that you could view, but I'm just hoping that that you learned something from this. So this has been MrLincecum, and I have see you next time if I have to make another tutorial.